And I remember one time we were on the streetcar. It must have been a streetcar where they were beginning, I imagine, the seating of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Colored was seated from the center on toward the back. And she got on the streetcar. In fact, she and I got on the streetcar. And we just sat. And it seems to me like the motorman or the conductor, they had a motorman and conductor on the streetcar. It seems to me like he came to her, and I imagine he told her to move back.
Oh, my.
I just imagine that's what it was. But whatever it was, she got angry, took me by my hand, and said, "We will get out of this car," took the money and threw it in the man's face, and we got off of the car.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first encounter that I had with, I guess, segregation. Then, too, she would go to the courthouse with some people. And I guess she was in court, too, because she would always do what she thought was best to do and not what the discriminating group would do. So she, I remember we got up after court was over or recessed, and she shook her hands in the judge's face and said, "I've got your job. You just wait until it's time for you to vote, for them to vote for you. And I've got your job. You'll never get back there again." She was just that type of woman, and people respected her. And coming up, being a large family, everybody looked forward to our being perfect.
Right.
They say, well, the Platts children didn't do this, that, or the other. So we walked a straight line because of the fact that we were supposed to be examples for others. And of course, I went to Georgia State College where my sister had been, and she was very smart. She was an elocutionist. When she was in high school, she won the highest mark or second highest mark and was a salutatorian. And when she was at Georgia State College, she was a valedictorian.
Wow.
And I was just me. I wasn't aspiring for anything. And I was so, what would you call me? Nothing made me angry. Nothing made me feel hurt. I was naive. And there were a little group of 3 or 4 of us. They were the younger people in that class. And I'll never forget, on the streetcar going out, you know, Savannah is an island and there are lots of little islands around it.
Right.
And Georgia State College was on one of these islands. You had to have a streetcar to get there because few people had cars. And this particular time, I wasn't cutting up like we usually did on the streetcar. You know, run up and down the aisle and just being funny. And at this particular time, I stayed in my seat while one of the young ladies who was an upperclassman was telling me a story. So I was so interested, I was just listening. But when we got to Georgia State College at noon, we would always have the assembly. That's all of the students, and of course that's a campus where it is a boarding campus for students. And the gentleman who was sitting on the streetcar when I was on said to the president, C.G. Wiley, he said, "Mr. Wiley, the children cut up on a streetcar. Nobody, these are special streetcars for the students from Savannah going out to the State College. And he gave a list and sat down. Finally, he got up. He said, Professor Riley, I think Little Miss Platts was in that. Little Miss Platts. And he looked at our people were well known. He said, stand up. And I stood up, and at that time we were in the back eating crackers. He said, you are a disgrace to the Platts family.
Uh-oh.
Now that's the time that I felt like I could just get a hold and go down.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my sister graduated, she said, Mama, I don't want Amelia to go back to Georgia State College because she'll ruin my reputation.
Yeah.
So I felt also that I did not want to live on the Platts reputation. I didn't want to be a criteria or model or anything for anybody. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And the things that I wanted to do were just me. For instance, my father had also a place where he kept the things that he used in carpentry, his tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in there and get his tools, and I would make little things. I'd try to make rocking chairs or chairs. I'd build little houses, particularly bird houses. I would make stilts for us to walk on. I would make pluffers. That's something the boys used to use to shoot people with. They'd go in the woods and get, I don't know, remember now, the kind of weed that grows. And they would make little pluffers, little slingshots. And I like to do those things. I like the wide open space. And when she said that she didn't want me to go back to Georgia State College, I said, I don't care. I don't want to go either. I don't want to go either. Because I wasn't like her.
Right.
She was what women groomed their children to their girls to be, ladies. And at that time, of course, they didn't wear pants, and I guess if they did, I would have been one who wanted to wear pants. My father at that time was going west. They were driving, and they didn't have any specific time to come back. But, and my mother called and said she wanted, that I wanted to go to Tuskegee, and he said if she wants to go, let her go. So I left and went to Tuskegee.
Wow. How old were you when you came to Tuskegee?
Around 15.
Wow. So you entered college at 15 years old?
No.
Oh.
They didn't have college like they have now.
Oh.
I'd like to make people understand that junior college was as far as you could go.
Oh.
And I spent 1 year in high school and 2 years in junior college. They didn't realize what we got in high school, what we got in college in the 2 grades. It's what the folk are getting now when they're aspiring for a PhD.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I came right out and started teaching.
Can you tell me about your first husband? How old were you when you married, and how did he propose to you?
Ha ha ha. That's a long story.
His name was Bob, right?
No, that was Samuel, S.W.
Okay.
S.W. Boynton.
Okay.
He was in school with me. Oh, I was in school with him because he was older. And his sister was my roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is funny. I mean, the whole thing through is funny.
Uh-huh.
The boys could only associate with the girls at Tuskegee when I first went there, is that they were, whoever was at the head of the table where the girls sat, the man or gentleman who was at the head of the table would move and go to some other table to sit with his girlfriend. And that vacancy is left for the gentleman who is going to, they call it take out.